Namaste. In this conversational episode, I have talked briefly about Rahu Mahadasha, and I have also covered every Antardasha that happens during Rahu Mahadasha, such as Rahu, Guru. Every Antardasha I have covered in this podcast. And I have also shared my own personal life experiences when I was going through Rahu Mahadasha, so that you can understand that the other name of Rahu is suffering. But suffering is the sole origin of consciousness. There is no person in this world who has evolved without going through suffering. No person. Suffering has a noble purpose, the burning up of your ego and the evolution of your consciousness. And this suffering comes through Rahu. When the Rahu Mahadasha begins, you suffer more mentally. So there is more of mental suffering. You may attain a lot of wealth, a lot of money during Rahu Dasha, but internally you are never happy. Internally there is no contentment. So Rahu Mahadasha can give you standard of living, can raise your standard of living, but it will never give you quality of living. Standard of living is based on your income. Today you are earning 5,000, tomorrow you may start earning 10,000. Your standard will grow. You will get a new car, a new, better, bigger house. Your standard is growing. But what about quality of life? Quality of life is connected with your peace, with your contentment. How happy, how blissful, how thankful, how grateful you feel every moment. That is what decides the quality of your life. And so in this podcast, I have talked briefly about Rahu Mahadasha with Mohan. And all of you in my last 2 episodes with Mohan have actually appreciated, and all of you have liked this kind of conversational episodes. So I am bringing this one more. So let's begin with this podcast. And after 2 days, Navratri is beginning. So I want to wish each one of you very happy Navratri. During this Navratri, I am going to fast for the 9 days. The 9 days of Navratri I am going to fast. So when I say fast, it's not that you don't eat anything, but you eat only upvas items that are allowed during fasting. So if you are a Hindu, if you are following Hindu faith, then you can find out the upvas items that you can prepare and eat during these 9 days of Navratri. So if you are also joining me in this fasting by having simple upvas items during these 9 days. Usually the upvas items are potato, plain potato, sabutana, that is sago, and you can drink milk, you can eat fruits. So these kind of very simple sattvic items you can eat, and you can just do your fasting for these 9 days. I am doing it. You can also do it. Especially if you are going through Rahu Mahadasha, then I would definitely encourage you to do this fasting for these 9 days of Navratri. However, if you are a medical patient, if you have some medical conditions, then you may skip this. But otherwise, if you are young, if you are healthy, then do this fasting for 9 days. So on this note, let's begin with this conversational podcast with Mohan on Rahu Mahadasha, the 18 years of test and suffering. Let's begin.
Namaste and welcome back, dear listeners. Today we are going to discuss one of the most mysterious and challenging phases in Vedic astrology, Rahu Mahadasha. Acharya Addittya Ji, you've often said Rahu blinds us, creates illusions, and yet it can also transform us. But before we dive deep, I'd like to start with something very personal. You once shared that during your Rahu Mahadasha, when you first landed in the US in 2006, being a vegetarian was a big challenge. Could you tell us that story again and how it connects to Rahu Mahadasha?
Namaste Mohan, and namaste to all my dear listeners. You know, when I first landed in the US, I was in for a big surprise. Everywhere I went, food seemed to revolve around meat, eggs, or chicken. And here I was, a strict vegetarian, not even touching eggs. It was so difficult to find something I could actually eat. Can you imagine? Even chicken soup was called vegetarian there. And so, now after struggling for a day or two, I met an Indian friend who had been living there for years, and he gave me a golden tip. He said, whenever you order food here, don't just say vegetarian. You must clearly say no egg, no flesh, no meat. Only then they will understand what to serve you. That one line made all the difference while I was staying in the US. And Mohan, this isn't just a story about food, it carries a deeper message. Just as I protected myself by being very clear about my diet when I was in the US, during Rahu Mahadasha, you too must be clear with your choices. If you really want to reduce suffering and overcome Rahu's illusion, then follow this basic principle. No egg, no flesh, no meat. Embrace a pure vegetarian lifestyle. That, I always say, is the very first step to transcending Rahu's grip.
That's powerful, Acharya Addittya Ji. You've said Rahu blocks our vision, our awareness, almost like putting a finger in front of our eyes so we can't see the whole world. Could you explain how Rahu Mahadasha impacts leaders, executives, and ordinary people alike?
Yes, that is right, Mohan. Rahu truly blinds you with ignorance. Think about it. What is the role of a managing director, a CEO, or a COO? They are hired to provide vision, to see the unseen, to lead an organization into the future. But imagine the irony. When they themselves enter Rahu Mahadasha, their inner vision is blocked. How can a leader guide others when he himself cannot see the path ahead? It's like asking a blind man to show you the way in the dark. And here's something many don't know. In fact, Mohan, large Indian corporations today quietly consult astrologers before appointing a CEO or CO. They actually request the birth details of the candidate. Why? Because if that person is running Rahu Mahadasha, they know his judgment, his clarity, his moral compass may be compromised. Some candidates, despite brilliant qualifications, have been rejected just for this reason. You see, Rahu is like smoke. While it lingers, you may think you are seeing castles in the air. Money, fame, recognition, it all looks so real, so solid. But the moment Rahu departs, that smoke clears and you realize it was all an illusion. Everything collapses like a mirage in the desert. That's the dangerous beauty of Rahu. It gives you everything only to snatch it away and leave you facing yourself.
You also connect historical and spiritual figures with Rahu Mahadasha. One example that touched me was Osho Rajneesh. Could you share how Rahu shaped his journey?
Mohan, Osho is a powerful example of Rahu's play. At the beginning of Rahu Mahadasha, he attained tremendous fame. His words, his presence, his very aura attracted millions. Overnight, he became a global figure. But along with his fame came chaos, disturbance, and turbulence. Rahu never gives without taking away something deeper. Mohan, understand this. Osho himself has said many times, fame is foolish. It adds no real value to self-growth. And that's exactly what Rahu does. It throws you into the glitter of recognition, but in that glitter, you lose your stillness. His spiritual life was deeply disturbed. He was arrested in the US, imprisoned, forced to leave the US. He also suffered personal losses. His grandmother, his father, died during his Rahu Mahadasha. And so this is Rahu's paradox. It gives you the world and yet it empties you inside. But for an evolved soul, even suffering becomes the soil of transformation. And that is what happened with Osho. When Rahu ended, he returned to Pune and established his ashram. Out of all the turmoil, his deeper awareness blossomed even more profoundly. So, Rahu is not just a planet of destruction, Mohan. It is also a teacher. It first breaks you, disturbs you, throws you into the fire, and then, if you allow it, it rebuilds you on a stronger foundation.
Acharya Addittya Ji, you've gone through this yourself. You lost your father at just 14, right in the middle of Rahu Mahadasha, when your mother had already left years earlier. How did Rahu shape your own destiny?
Yes, Mohan. At the tender age of 14, I was left with no father and no mother. My father, who had once been a famous journalist and novelist of his time, had passed away. My mother had left long before that. I had no family, no home to live in. Truly, I was an orphan stepping into the most difficult phase of my life, and that was Rahu Mahadasha. Yes, it all happened during my Rahu Mahadasha. I lost my parents and I became homeless. When Rahu strikes, it strips you bare. There was no one to turn to, no support system, and yet in that darkness, God sent me light in the form of a very pious man. He was not just a successful, reputed builder, but also a spiritually evolved soul, deeply blessed by great spiritual masters. He himself was going through a profound spiritual transformation at that time, and perhaps that is why he could see my pain and hold my hand. This gentleman not only helped me financially when I had nothing, but more importantly, he gave me a precious spiritual guidance. His words, his compassion, and his living example kept me from drowning in despair. And I often feel that without his timely help and mentorship, I would not be who I am today. His grace was like a bridge that carried me across Rahu's storm. So, yes, Mohan, suffering is Rahu's second name. But suffering is also the soil in which strength, faith, and gratitude grow. If you are willing to look inward, if you cling to faith when everything else is taken away, then Rahu becomes your greatest teacher. It first destroys, but only so that you may be rebuilt on foundation of humility and inner strength.
Acharya Aditya Ji, listening to this, I feel very moved. You mentioned that when you had lost everything, there was one pious gentleman who came into your life, helped you financially, and guided you spiritually. Who was that gentleman? Because it feels like without him, we might not have had you here with us today.
Yes, Mohan, you are right. Destiny always sends someone at the right moment, and for me, it was Shri Rajiv Kulkarni Ji. Outwardly, he was a very reputed builder, highly respected in society, but inwardly, he was walking a very deep spiritual path, blessed by great spiritual masters. He was not only successful in the material world, but also immensely evolved in the spiritual world. At a time when I had no family to turn to, no home to return to, Shri Rajiv Kulkarni Ji appeared like a divine instrument in my life. He helped me financially when I had nothing, but more than that, he guided me spiritually. His wisdom, his compassion, and his presence kept me rooted in faith when the Rahu's storms could have easily broken me. I can say with all my heart, without his timely help and guidance, I would not have been here where I am today. He was the bridge that carried me through one of the darkest phases of my life. And through him, I realized that while Rahu Mahadasha takes much away, God always sends grace, sometimes through extraordinary souls like Sri Rajiv Kulkarni Ji.
Acharya Aditya Ji, that is so touching. Listening to your journey and the way Shri Rajiv Kulkarni Ji appeared like a divine instrument in your life, it truly shows us that even in the darkest hours, God never abandons His child. He always sends grace through someone. Your story is not just about suffering, it is about faith, gratitude, and the unseen hands of destiny that lift us when everything else is gone. I think every listener today will take courage from your words, knowing that no matter how harsh Rahu Mahadasha feels, there is always light waiting at the end of the tunnel. Thank you for sharing this so openly, Ji. That brings me to the heart of today's talk. Rahu Mahadasha lasts 18 years and is filled with different Antardashas. Rahu Rahu, Rahu Guru, Rahu Shani, and so on. Acharya Addittya Ji, let's begin step by step. Could you tell us first what happens during Rahu Rahu Antardasha?
Yes, Mohan. Rahu is like entering a thick, dark jungle with no light and no guide. You may achieve something outwardly, a marriage, a job, even money, but inwardly there is no happiness. Desires begin to multiply like fire that feeds on dry grass. You keep running from one thing to another, restless, seeking, chasing, and yet never fulfilled. This is the time when many people are trapped in scandals, scams, or cheated by others. And the irony is, they don't even realize it until much later. It is as if Rahu ties a black cloth over your eyes. You keep walking, but you stumble again and again. Rahu period is the darkest beginning, where suffering introduces itself as your constant companion.
And what about the next one? Rahu Guru Antardasha.
Guru, the teacher, is conscience. He is dharma, morality, the inner compass that guides us to truth. But in the Rahu Guru period, Rahu blocks this very compass. Imagine your ship losing its magnetic north. You start drifting into dangerous waters. During this period, people often cross moral boundaries, extramarital affairs, financial scams, exploitation of those below them in position. Because conscience is clouded, what once felt wrong begins to feel acceptable. And this is why Rahu Guru is also fertile ground for black magic attacks. Since black magic works for blocking moral and spiritual senses, Rahu already makes the magician's job easier. It is also a period when harm to the father or even loss of father can occur, because the first guru is always the father. Rahu Guru often tests how strong your inner light is when the outer guidance goes missing.
That sounds heavy. How does Rahu Shani Antardasha unfold?
Mohan, Saturn is the lord of karma, discipline, and justice. But in the Rahu Shani period, Rahu throws smoke over Saturn's eyes. This is why people take wrong judgments and make wrong decisions in this period. What they believe is right often turns out to be disastrous later. Health also begins to suffer, especially bones, knees, and chronic conditions. Depression and loneliness deepen because you constantly feel that justice is denied to you. You give your best, but recognition is absent. You ask for fairness, but life feels cruel. The danger is that in this frustration, people sometimes resort to wrong means, illegal actions, shortcuts, or sinful karmas to get what they believe they deserve. But those actions only create heavier baggage for the future. Rahu Shani is a period where the world feels unfair, and yet you must hold on to dharma without bending to anger or greed.
What happens in Rahu Budh Antardasha?
Rahu Buddha Antardasha first of all reminds me of that beautiful verse. Vinashakaal Viparita Buddhi, meaning when the time of destruction comes, the mind itself begins to think in reverse. This is Rahu Buddha period. Mercury governs communication, clarity, logic, but when Rahu clouds Mercury, every message becomes distorted. Miscommunication breaks relationships, trust collapses, and divorce is very common. One wrong word, one wrong assumption, and everything falls apart. Since Mercury also rules spells and mantras, black magic works more effectively in this Rahu Mercury or Rahu Buddha period. Many people are looted by fake tantrics, fake babas, believing they are being helped. It is the time of my way or the highway. You stop listening to others, you assume you are always right, but later you look back and realize how foolish those choices were. This is Rahu Buddha. Your own mind becomes your worst enemy.
And how does Rahu Ketu Antardasha play out?
Mohan, Ketu is liberation, detachment, turning inward, seeking truth. But when Rahu Ketu comes, Rahu drags you outward into the noisy marketplace of life. Instead of meditating, you start running behind achievements, possessions, and recognition. This is a period where spiritual practice either weakens or stops. Rituals, puja, higher learning all feel boring or irrelevant. The soul that once thirsted for knowledge suddenly feels no need for it. You become mechanical, robotic, living without depth. Ketu is exalted in Sagittarius, the land of dharma. Rahu is exalted in Gemini, the land of chatter, gossip, and superficiality. And so in Rahu Ketu, higher values are replaced by distractions. You stop spending time with yourself, and when you lose your inner connection, you lose everything.
What about Rahu Shukra Antardasha? Many listeners may want to know, since Venus is linked to love.
Mohan, Rahu Shukra or Rahu Venus is like honey mixed with poison. Romantic relationships blossom, love marriages happen, temptations surround you. Desire for beauty, desire for sex, and companionship becomes very strong. For some, this period looks like a dream, but very soon that dream turns into disillusionment, heartbreaks, infidelity, betrayal, all become common. Many get cheated in love, and the pain engulfs them so deeply that they lose focus on career and growth. Some even end up in extramarital affairs that make life no less than hell. If Venus is well placed, some manage to channel this energy into creative expression. But for most, Rahu Shukra or Rahu Venus period derails life with endless temptations. It is the period when love becomes obsession and obsession blinds you.
And then comes Rahu Ravi Antardasha. Why do you call it the most dangerous?
Because Ravi, the sun, is consciousness, the very light of awareness. When Rahu shadows the sun, the light itself is eclipsed. Rahu Ravi or Rahu Sun inflates the ego to dangerous levels. You start believing you are invincible, above rules, beyond consequences. This arrogance leads to scandals, disputes, and exposure. Innocent people are sometimes framed during this period. They are punished for crimes they never committed. Others fall due to their own inflated ego. Health issues, problems with bosses, authority clashes, all are trademarks of Rahu Sun or Rahu Ravi period. But the most painful part is the bursting of the ego. By the end of this Antardasha, the balloon of pride collapses, leaving you humiliated and broken. Yet, if you accept this fall as grace, you emerge with humility, and that humility becomes your strength. Mohan.
And what about Rahu Chandra Antardasha?
Moon is the mind, Mohan. And in Rahu Chandra or Rahu Moon period, the mind becomes the master and you, the soul, becomes its slave. This is extremely dangerous because the mind is restless, doubtful, and fearful. In this period, illusions dominate. You suspect your partner of betrayal. You distrust your friends. You even doubt your own worth. Doubt is like a slow poison. It damages relationships. It eats away peace. Fear of losing people, possessions, or respect keeps haunting you now. You live in daydreams and fantasies, imagining things that are not real. This is why Rahu Moon or Rahu Chandra period often leads to breakdowns in relationships and emotional health. It is like being trapped in a hall of mirrors. You see reflections, not reality.
Finally, what happens in the last phase, Rahu Mangal Antardasha?
Mohan, this is Rahu's final strike before leaving. Mars is energy, courage, and sexuality. In Rahu Mangal or Rahu Mars period, sexual hunger rises like wildfire. Infatuations, reckless relationships, and lust become dominant. If the horoscope is weak, this period leads to misuse of authority. Bosses exploiting subordinates, leaders misusing power, anger and aggression are high, but discipline is absent. Many feel demotivated, tired, drained because after 18 years of Rahu's illusion, the soul is exhausted. Rahu Mars period is like the last wave of a storm, intense, destructive, but short. Once it passes, Rahu's Mahadasha finally ends, leaving behind scars. But those scars are also reminders of the struggle, the mistakes, and the lessons learned.
That's such a complete picture, Acharya Addittya Ji. But I know many listeners will now ask, what can we do? How can we protect ourselves during this storm of Rahu Mahadasha? Could you share the remedies, please?
Yes, definitely, Mohan. Remedies are crucial only if they are implemented with consistency. So, I will share 12 powerful remedies now. The first is chanting the powerful Vishnu mantra. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Chanting this mantra is extremely helpful during Rahu Mahadasha, and it has been proven by many real life examples that I have come across. So daily chanting this mantra using a Spatik Japamala with diamond cut is very important. Being consistent is important, and if you do the chanting daily for just 15 minutes in the morning and evening, then you can remain consistent. And so don't do too much, do it in small portions. That way you can maintain consistency in your life. The second remedy is to adopt a pure vegetarian diet. Also avoid garlic. Bhagwan Raman Maharshi specifically mentions that garlic was born from demon's blood. And that is why when you eat more and more garlic, you become more and more demonic by nature. If you cannot stop eating garlic, then at least cut down its intake. That may also help during Rahu Mahadasha. The third remedy is that you should visit a goshala and feed cows with groundnuts and jaggery on every Wednesday. The fourth remedy is that you should visit Lord Vishnu or Lord Krishna temple every Wednesday and chant the Vishnu mantra which I have mentioned earlier, Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. The fifth is that you should donate or discard all clothes older than 1 year. Don't keep clothes in your cupboard which are 1 year old or more than 1 year old. The sixth is wear fresh new clothes and even fresh new inner wear. Change your inner wear after every 6 months. It is a very, very important thing to do. The seventh remedy is that you should visit a saint's Samadhi Mandir. You can either visit a Hindu saint's Samadhi Mandir in your city or you can visit a dargah. A dargah is a shrine where the remains of a Sufi saint is buried and worshipped by many devotees. However, if you are a hardliner Hindu person, then instead of dargah, you can visit any other Hindu saint's Samadhi Mandir. But visiting a saint's Samadhi Mandir on Thursdays is very important. Offer flower garlands, light an incense stick, and just sit there and chant the mantra Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Chant this mantra for 108 times, sitting in that holy place. The eighth remedy is that you should wear a Suleimani Hakik of minimum 25 carats in silver only if you quit alcohol. Because Suleimani Hakik is a very, very holy stone. Suleimani means holy, Hakik means stone. So it's a holy stone. So if you wear it, you should stop drinking alcohol and stop smoking cigarettes or avoid tobacco. The ninth remedy is that avoid fried salty foods like samosas. Stick to sattvic diet. The 10th is visit your Kuladevi or Kuladev every year. The 11th remedy is wear a yellow sapphire of 5 carats in gold ring on right hand index finger. The 12th remedy is do daily loban to purify your home and ward off spirits. If you don't know how to do loban, then there is a video that I have already uploaded. Title is How to Purify Vastu. So watch that video wherein I have demonstrated on how to do loban. So if you follow these 12 remedies sincerely, then these remedies align you with sattva, purity, and that is how Rahu loses his grip over you. You understand? All these 12 remedies are simply to help you cleanse yourself, to purify yourself. The more you remain in a purified state, the less Rahu will trouble you. That is the main sutra of Rahu Mahadasha. So if you don't want to suffer during Rahu Mahadasha, stop offending others, stop hurting others through your words. Follow a sattvic lifestyle. Don't drink alcohol and don't smoke tobacco. And don't disrespect a woman in your life.
Acharya Addittya Ji, this is so detailed, but beyond remedies, what is the inner attitude we must carry? What is the spiritual key to surviving Rahu Mahadasha?
The spiritual key is in 2 words, Mohan, in just 2 words. And these 2 words are immensely important. Faith and patience. Sai Baba of Shirdi has given these 2 important, I would say, keys that if you really hold it, you will definitely succeed in life. And it is faith and patience. Sai Baba says Shraddha or Saburi, faith and patience. If you have these 2, nobody can do anything wrong to you. Nobody can cause any harm to you. Rahu Mahadasha is like a litmus test. God is silent during your test, but He is watching. He wants to see, are you the mango flower that falls with the wind, or the one that holds firm and bears sweet fruits? Suffering cracks the ego. Remember, suffering is necessary until you realize it is unnecessary. And when you embrace suffering with faith, it transforms into awareness. Buddha says life is suffering, and yet saints like Lao Tzu went through all of it just to understand its depth. Rahu burns you, but that fire purifies you.
That is so moving. As we close, Acharya Addittya Ji, what message would you like to leave with our listeners who are currently facing Rahu Mahadasha?
My message is simple: choose love over hate. Rahu tempts you with fear, illusion, shortcuts, but if you choose gratitude, patience, faith, love, then Rahu becomes your stepping stone. Neem Karoli Baba says, love is the strongest medicine, stronger than electricity. Love will carry you through where nothing else works. So meditate, remain grateful, avoid shortcuts like black magic, and walk with faith. During Rahu Mahadasha, you may be tempted to find tantrics and babas who can liberate you from this trouble. But let me tell you and all my listeners that never happens. You will be simply looted by these people. And I say this based on real life examples that I have seen and consulted in my last over 20 years of astrology practice. So just be patient and be faithful. Shraddha or Saburi, says Sai Baba. God will make a way where there seems to be no way. Why you need a tantric? Why you need a Baba? A fake Baba? Why can't you just focus on yourself? Why can't you just focus on being consistent in your mantra chanting every morning and every evening? Is this so difficult? Can't you do this much just to save yourself from all these troubles? If you can do it, then let me tell you all, you will be alright. And I am one of that living example. I have already shared my real life experiences during Rahu Mahadasha. I lost my father, a very, very famous person here in Mumbai during those times, during his times. After him, there was nobody to look after me. And imagine I was just 14 and I was walking barefoot with just a bag in my hand. Nobody else. But it was my faith and it was his blessings that helped me to survive. If it can happen with me, it can happen with you too. All you need is a strong faith, a faith that never wavers. Just few days ago, a young man was saying that now I am not getting anything, I don't have money, so I am not happy with God. I don't do anything, any puja, nothing. But then I reminded him that in spite of his very difficult planetary aspects, he is still alive. He is still talking, he is still living a normal life. So why can't he be grateful to God instead of saying all of this? So this is how you have to change your perspective. And that is why I always and always remind you with that one song that I really love. जिसकी लागी रे लगन भगवान से उसका दिया रे जलेगा तूफान में. Meaning one who stays connected with God even in the most difficult storms of life, he will be alright. जिसकी लागी रे लगन भगवान से उसका दिया रे जलेगा तूफान में. What a beautiful, beautiful song. And so, Mohan, to you and to all my listeners, I want to say this. There is no need to fear Rahu Mahadasha, because that is what Rahu wants. Rahu leads to more fear. So don't fear. Instead, have faith. Let your faith be more greater than your fear. Jai Sri Ganesha. Jai Guru.
Acharya Addittya Ji, heartfelt thanks for sharing such profound insights. What many fear as 18 years of darkness, you've revealed as a journey of transformation, faith, and love. To our dear listeners, if today's talk inspired you, Do follow and subscribe so you never miss future episodes. Share this wisdom with those who may need it, and remember, faith and patience are your greatest companions. This is Mohan, signing off with gratitude. Namaste.
ॐ गं गणपतये नमः। ॐ गं गणपतये नमः। ॐ गं गणपतये नमः।